What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Charged Up. It's your boy Willie G, and in today's video I want to discuss why I think Rivian may be going bankrupt here in the not so distant future. There are a few things that were leading to it, pointed to it over the last couple of weeks. I'd said way back in November when they IPO'd that I thought the stock price was way too high. Over the last few months, we've seen the stock price drop dramatically since then. It was up at a high of $172, now down to about $45 a share. Still wouldn't purchase it myself at this current price. You'd still need to see maybe like another 3x drop down to about $14, $15 for me personally to think that that would be a good buy. Now, before I get too far ahead of myself, I kind of want to start with some recent news about Rivian, which was related to the recent price hikes that were announced to some of the earliest reservation holders, even those as early as day one. So what happened was an email was sent out to all reservation holders letting them know that the configuration that they had, depending on which options had been selected, would be raising in price. Some people's original price was raised by over $20,000, like a crazy /crazy amount of money to just say, hey, you now have to pay this amount to get the vehicle you thought you secured for 2-3 years ago, right? So I thought that was a little bit of a shady business practice, right? This is a brand new startup, have no customers essentially. Now the first ones that you do potentially have, you're trying to fuck them over. Doesn't really seem like something that you should do, especially to the most loyal ones. Now I must admit that obviously their CEO R.J. Scaringe, who I nickname R.J. Cringe, and I'll speak to that a little bit later. But RJ sent out an email the other day after this announcement had gone out, pretty much telling anybody that had ordered their Rivian prior to March 1st, their original order price would be honored. And for those who had canceled, there were, hundreds of people who went online. I want to say thousands. I can't say for sure, but there were a lot of people who went online expressing their, disappointment with the company, as well as letting others know that they were going to be canceling their reservations. So RJ gave them, the option to reinstate their order at their original price, and everybody else, like I said, before March 1st would get those same original prices. Now, the damage is already done, right? You've already shown your hand. You've kind of shown the customers and the people watching who you guys really are, what you're willing to do behind closed doors in order to, I guess, get ahead. Now, I understand it's a small startup, not so small startup, that's trying to get their, foot in the door, really trying to get things off the ground. I get it. Same time, there's better ways of going about it. I think the fact that they just sent out an email that came from, the PR team, it didn't come from the CEO himself. It came from, some random person that's just, their job is to send out communications. I think it's a little interesting to me. I don't personally like it. I'm glad that I'm not a reservation holder and that I'm not, a shareholder in the company, because I personally would be highly disappointed in that. Now, I mentioned that the CEO, R.J. Scaringe, he's a little cringeworthy. And what I mean by that is, he's the CEO of what is now a multi-billion-dollar company, valued at a multi-billion-dollar company. And he had recently gone on Sandy Monroe Live, which on YouTube, it's a show. The guy's name is Sandy. Great YouTube series, tears down cars, recently tore down the Plaid Model S. He makes amazing content, really helps people who don't have an understanding of the way that, cars work from an engineering aspect. He breaks it down and actually tears the cars apart to pieces And yeah, I think it's a really good show. You guys should check it out. But I say all that to say that RJ was recently on there, and it wasn't the greatest interview. Now, I'm not sitting here, trying to be hypocritical. I'm not the greatest on camera either, right? I'm still working at it. I've been doing this for about a year and a half now. I'm still working on it, right? It takes some time. It's difficult to kind of just be yourself on camera. But when you are the CEO of the company that you've been the CEO of and founded 12 years ago, I think there are some, maybe training courses you take or some sort of speech classes that you do, something that kind of makes you more comfortable on camera. And, obviously practice makes perfect. You got to get on there more. We haven't seen a whole lot of RJ, but and I'm sure he'll improve over time. However, in this particular interview, which is a really informal interview. I mean, they're interviewing and they're reviewing the vehicle, the R1T, the Rivian truck. They're reviewing it together, kind of looking over it. RJ's telling Sandy about it. And now what I thought was cringe about it was, which I hate using the term, but that's really what it was. As he's explaining things, you can tell he doesn't know what the fuck is going on, right? The guy he's the first example was they asked, hey, what is the bed size when the lift gate is down, right? And this is something RJ didn't know off the top of his head, right? He looks off camera, asks the guy, hey, what's the size of the bed when the lift gate is down? Like, you the CEO of the company, big dog, you supposed to know this. This is supposed to be, bare minimum, this is what you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know the specs of the car. I'm not saying that you got to sit here and know, exactly the financials and all the aspects of it like that. What I'm simply saying is you got to know what the shit is that you selling me. You trying to sell something to somebody, you got to tell them like, yo, this is what it is. I can answer any question about it, right? If you ask me about a Tesla, I can answer a whole lot about that shit. That's not even my car. I didn't make the car. I'm just a fan of the car. So you got to think, if this guy doesn't know the spec of the car, how much does he really know, not only about the car, but of the company, right? Another thing that he had brought up, or I should say didn't really know too much about, was a feature that Tesla had implemented first, which was called Sentry Mode, which essentially uses the camera surrounding the vehicle, records any suspicious activity that may occur when the vehicle is locked and secured. And you have the security, it's essentially just a security system, right? Rivian has their own version of this, and RJ was attempting to demonstrate it for Sandy, and in trying to demonstrate it, could not get it to activate, right? And it's things like this that just, to me, are red flags. I look at that and I'm like, yo, how can I put my money, my hard-earned money, as an investor into your company if you don't even know your company? You know what I mean? Perhaps you shouldn't be running it. I'm not saying RJ is a bad guy. I'm simply saying that if he doesn't know everything there is to know about just the product, they got two, right? Three. We'll get to the third in a minute, but they got two. They got the R1T, which is the pickup truck, and the R1S, the SUV, right? You just got to know the ins and outs of that. If you know that, look, we could have a conversation. If you don't, right? So there were a few other examples where, RJ had to ask somebody off camera, what the answer was. And it kind of just seemed like he doesn't know what's going on, which is fine, right? Get somebody else new in there, maybe that can run the company. I mean, another thing that kind of points, that's to me a red flag, is a couple months ago, maybe even I guess a couple months ago at the beginning of the year, the COO left the company in the middle of a ramp up, and it was a planned exit. It wasn't, didn't catch anybody off by surprise. They announced that they knew it was coming. If you knew it was coming, don't you think you'd probably have a replacement plan? Don't you think you'd probably have somebody to step in immediately to pick up where that person? No, not Rivian. Fuck it. It's good. We'll run it without it. Let it run. I don't know. It seems like the company is not very well structured, right? It seems like the company is not set up for success. The man in charge doesn't really seem like he knows what's going on, nor does he seem like he's actually running it. And I don't know. I think it's again, a bunch of red flags. Now, moving on from that, the next point that I kind of want to get into is, and I probably could have segued this a little bit better, but so we know that RJ, it's his company, right? He's the founder. He's the CEO. He runs it. Early on, likely he had to invest a lot into that company, right? He had to invest a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And, but to that point, he's probably like, yo, I'm trying to see some sort of return here, some sort of action, right? But there are other people who also have invested in the company, right? And they also want to see some sort of return, some sort of action, right? Two of the biggest financial investors into the company were Ford and Amazon, right? Now, starting with Ford, why would Ford want to invest in a company like Rivian, a startup like Rivian, right? What do they have to offer Ford? What can Ford gain from putting money into Rivian? Well, what I think is Ford says, hey, we see that there's a transition happening over to electric vehicles. Hence the reason why Ford recently announced that they're separating their business into two separate, business structures. One will be based on their, legacy internal combustion engine. The other will be their electric vehicles, right? So Ford understands the importance of transitioning over to electric vehicles. That's where regulation is pushing it. That's where, consumer demand is pushing it. Everything's going towards electrification. However, Ford also has, a brand name that has a certain reputation level, if you will. And so I think that they understand that they can't go and put out their entry because they got to enter into the electric vehicle market somehow, right? They started with the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Cool. You know what I'm saying? It's a cool vehicle, I guess. I've never ridden in it. I've seen it drive around a couple times. I've definitely watched plenty of reviews on it. I mean, outside of the fact that it's an electric vehicle, it's not much different than any other Ford. You know what I mean? Like the screen's a little bigger, but it's not really much different, right? So I guess they didn't drop the ball. They're the number two, right? In electric vehicles in America, they're number two. So they got that going for them. That's cool. Like we can run with that. Okay. But now when you look at, okay, we got to get into a market segment that hasn't already been won. Tesla won the Mustang Mach-E is a compact SUV. The Tesla Model Y is a compact SUV. That's number one. That won the game. That market is done, right? Ford knows that. Sedans, done. The Model 3, done. We're talking about mass market vehicles here, vehicles that, many, many people are going to buy. Those two are done. So they say, what's the third? Pickup trucks, right? Ford currently, I believe, sells the most pickup trucks per year in the United States. So putting two and two together, they like, look, we got to get into the pickup game. Tesla's not there yet. They got the Cybertruck, but that's not coming for a while, and it looks kind of funky. Look, let's attack that. However, we don't know how to do that. There's a company over here that's trying to do that. Rather than put billions upon billions upon billions of dollars into R&D in order to figure that out, we can simply pump a few $billion into this company over here, prop them up a little bit, allow them to do all the research and development. We continue to do our thing, say that we're working on our EVs, we're doing all this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, over here, they got the money to be able to do the research and development, but it doesn't come under Ford's brand reputation, right? It doesn't affect their reputation, whatever comes out of this, right? Ford's still working on what Ford's working on, but whatever comes out of this is just a plus, right? So now they say, okay, cool. Rivian's generating market income, market interest. The people are like, yo, I take a Rivian. That's probably the number one most demanded pickup truck right now. Electric pickup truck right now is the Rivian R1T. Look, people want that. They want to see that car. It seems like a pretty good car. So now that Ford is like, okay, cool. We know there's interest there. We know that they've proven it out. They've already started to, build the technology around it or whatever. Cool. Rivian, go IPO. They go and IPO. Ford gets their money back. They're like, cool. Works for us, right? We get access to this information because you gotta ask what does Ford get out of this? If they invest in this company, what do they got to get something? So maybe Rivian's giving them information. Maybe just the fact that people are interested in electric, vehicle, electric pickup truck. That's gonna, that would be quote unquote something for Ford out of the deal. I don't know, but there was another player that I mentioned, which is Amazon. Right? We didn't talk about Amazon yet. What does Amazon have to do with this? Well, Amazon struck a deal with Rivian early on that secured them 100,000 delivery vans. Not 100, not 1,000. 100,000 delivery vans from a company that's never produced or sold a vehicle. They locked it in. So you got to wonder, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they go to a company like Tesla? Why wouldn't they go to a company like Mercedes that's, working on, electric vehicles? They also have some legitimate, vans that they produce. Why not go to Ford, right? Ford is one of the leaders in their delivery vans. Plus they're working on electric vehicles. Why wouldn't they go to one of these? Why would they go to Rivian and secure 100,000 delivery vans? To me, it seems like there's a little game being played in the back, right? So now let's bring it full circle. Ford and Rivian working together to make the actual platform for the vehicle, not the vehicle itself, just the platform. That means, the battery, the powertrain, yada, yada, yada. That's what they work together. Amazon says, okay, we'll wait off in the background. You IPO, yay, everybody wants Rivian, cool, fucking fantastic. Rivian goes, they IPO, they immediately start shooting down. Ford, I don't know how long back it was, but Ford removed themselves from the Rivian deal. They removed their stake. Surprising, right? No, not surprising at all. They were fucking removed themselves. Rivian's tanking, And I wonder if at what point they've been losing money hand over fist with the cars. Every single car that they sell, they're losing on, right? That's why they had to bump up the price by $20,000 in order to, on the original reservation holder, they had to bump it up by $20,000 because they're losing money on every car. So now you got to ask the question, well, they're losing money on every car. Their stock price is tanking. What do they have going for them? How do they just continue to just stay in business? They've already, one thing we didn't talk about was the fact that they've already announced that they're looking to start building their second factory. They haven't even ramped up their first factory. They haven't even gotten production ramped up at their first factory, right? Which means that the efficiencies, in ironing out all those kinks at the first factory, that's going to lead to efficiency gains that you then put into your second factory. Right? You learn from the mistakes of the first one and if you haven't made the mistakes yet, or you're still in the process of making mistakes at the first one, that means you're going to make a whole bunch more mistakes at the second one, which means that it's even less efficient than it should be, right? It doesn't make any fucking sense what they're doing. So they've announced that they got this second factory. Their COO left. They're raising prices because they're losing on every vehicle. Ford backs out. Oh my, the stock price is tanking. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Who's going to help us? Somebody please help us. Dun, dun, dun. Who comes to save the day? Amazon. Amazon comes to save the day. They buy Rivian out, right? So they buy Rivian out. Boom. Now what? They take all of Rivian's assets, including their technology, including their factories to build these vans. Amazon could do these things. Amazon could go and purchase factories. They could, put a team of people together and try to make delivery vans, but then that's just wasting of resources. Why not just give a few $1 billion of excess, profits or revenue from the year before, put it into a business that may or may not fail. If it booms, then hey, your investment is going to grow, and then all of a sudden you made money on that. Cool. If it tanks, then you buy that company out and then you utilize what they had. They've done it time and time again. This is not something new for Amazon. This is not new. This is something that Amazon does. They've done this with other companies. So it shouldn't be surprising for anyone that they would do it with a company like Rivian, who owes them 100,000 delivery vans. To me, this shit lines up. It don't get much clearer than this. And I told y'all at the beginning when they IPO'd at $100 and the shit went up to $170, I'm like, yo, look, pump the fucking brakes, because everybody's trying to jump in. And I don't blame people. There's probably some people, retail investors, that are trying to find the next Tesla. And like I and other people have said, many other people have said it before me, Tesla is the next Tesla. Right? They got everything going for them. They have battery technology. They have dope ass cars. They have artificial intelligence. They have, the full self drive. They got so much shit going for them that they haven't even started scratching the surface. Like what the 4680 cells, the Tesla's going to, and I'm not going to go too far down the Tesla rabbit hole in this video, but when the 4680 cells are then implemented into the Texas made Model Ys and the Berlin Model Ys, and then those start to trickle down, like that battery technology alone is saving them a whole bunch of money. The structural packs, that's going to change the game. So now they're the leader in batteries. Then you got the FSD. They start to solve that. Then you got, it's just crazy. And people are trying to find that, and you can find it at Tesla. That's why I made the channel, because I'm trying to get more people to understand what it is. Like, don't go looking for it somewhere else thinking that you missed the wave. The wave ain't even started yet. We still like paddling, getting ready. You know what I mean? So I bring this back to Rivian, and I'll just say this. Rivian is not in a position to succeed right now. For those of you who are invested in Rivian, who may have lost already or may be down on their Rivian investments, what I would personally do, not investment advice whatsoever. Y'all know, y'all read the thing at the beginning, no, not investment advice, but what I would do, I'd probably just cut my losses. I would take what I get, put that back into Tesla and let it ride, let it make the profits back, because Rivian won't be around very long. They most in the last 100 years, I think the only automotive startup that has survived bankruptcy is Tesla. Over the last 100 years, the only two companies that survived bankruptcy from the 2008 financial crisis, the only two companies to survive the financial crisis without bankruptcy, Tesla, Ford. Ford knows what's up. Ford sees the writing on the wall. Electric vehicles are coming. We're not prepared. Let's start to prepare. Guess what? ICE vehicle is going to go down the drain. Let's separate our businesses so then we can just, at the end of it, we can be like, oh yeah, that's trickling off, but really that's propping us up right now while we're trying to build this, but it's dying. They're trying to so I don't know. But the one thing that I do see is there are a lot of dots that connect. And again, this is all speculation. This is just my thoughts, my opinions. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't listen to anything I say and make some financial decision based on it, because this is not financial advice. Again, this is just me talking, and this is what I see. If you go and research this shit for yourself, you will see the exact same thing that I'm seeing. So call me out. Tell me where the lies are in the shit that I've said today. So long-term outlook. Where does it go from here? For Rivian, not sure. I don't know how long they last. Like I said, they're losing money, hand over fist. They're investing a lot of money. This is the investment phase. You guys got to understand. Tesla has gone through the investment phase. They've already started to, they're starting to break out of it. They're starting to get to the point where they're not having to invest as much. They're reaping the rewards of their early investments. And I think with Rivian, they're still there. They're still trying to, like I said before, get their factories up and built. They're still trying to, get their vehicles, their product lines ramped up fully. They are making like a few hundred cars. They've made a few hundred cars. You know what I mean? Like they have goals of hitting a couple thousand in the year that they might not hit. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not hitting goals, if you're losing money on every vehicle that you make, they're not making money on the vehicle. It's like costing them money to make vehicles. At what point does Wall Street investors, do retail investors say, this is not a good business structure, big business model, right? Not every electric vehicle, car company, whatever, can be Tesla. Tesla's not even a car company. This is what I don't understand. Why people are trying to... Rivian is something completely different than what Tesla is. Even though they both sell similar products, they're not the same. They're not focused on the same things right now. It's impossible for them to be, right? Rivian can't focus simultaneously on building out their charging network if they can't even get their vehicles built, right? And they promised a charging network that would rival that of Tesla's. It's probably not going to happen. It's very difficult, even with the financial investments that you have from companies like Ford and Amazon. It's very, 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 very hard. It doesn't work very often. People got to learn that. People got to understand that. For those of you watching who are invested in Rivian, good luck. For those of you who are looking to, you're trying to decide whether you should invest in Rivian, Lucid, Tesla, whatever, do your research, right? I got a homie that just told me the other day, hey, bro, every time you talk to me about some Tesla shit, whenever I need some information about some Tesla shit, I come to you. I trust you 100%. And I know you're always going to tell me to do my own research, but fuck that. I'm coming to you. You are my research. That warms my heart. That's my boy. He told me that shit. I was like, yo, thank you. But same time, no, don't just trust what I got to say. Don't trust what anybody got to say. Go out there and look at it for yourself, right? I've been doing a lot of research for a lot of time. I'm starting to share the information that I've learned. This is easy stuff. This is not difficult I'm not supremely talented at anything. I'm not an engineer. I'm not, a financial wizard. I'm none of these things, right? I just read a lot about Tesla. I watch a lot of review videos on, other products. I like technology, and that's kind of what, motivates and boosts my, tenacity to kind of grab more information. But at the end of the day, I'm nobody special, right? I'll be the first to admit it. Now I'm the shit, but I'm nobody special, right? So I think this is something that anybody and everybody can learn. I really want everybody to benefit at the end of the day. Like I said, I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm just like, yo, I'm about to come out and just spit this information. Fuck all the editing and all the, shit. Not to say that I won't edit, not to say that I won't, try to boost the visual appeal and all that. But at the end of the day, all y'all need is information. That's all you really want. That's all you really need. And as long as I can provide that to you in an entertaining way, that, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I could go back to that guy. Cause I know, one, he's going to give me good shit. Two, it's going to be fun, right? And we're going to talk some shit. We're going to do that. But at the end of the day, this is for y'all. This is for me to just feel like I'm doing something, right? I want to provide some sort of value, and this is how I feel like I can do it. So yeah, I don't know. With that, that's all I got for this video. I know I was kind of off the rails there a little bit, but yes, to answer the original overarching theme of this video, is Rivian going bankrupt? I believe so. How soon? Not sure. Let's keep our eye out and find out. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that. Pass it on to your friends and family. Let them know, hey, that dude Willie, he got some good info on that Tesla and all that other EV stuff. So yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Catch you on the next one. Peace.